Thank you so much for dropping by and joining in. One of the primary mm, questions of life, which we never tend to ask, but really the fundamental question of life is, what do we trust? What do we put our trust and faith in? What do we depend on? What do we rely on? Most people never really tend to ask this question, but it's really in a sense, it's the fundamental question of life. What's our foundation? What do we depend on? Most people, um, and certainly it's also partially true for me. It's um, friendships, relationships, work. Um, those are the things family. Those are the things that most human beings rely on and structure their whole life around. Now, and the question is, are those things, does that work? Not is it bad or wrong, but does it work? To a certain extent, it can. Many people have a very beautiful life that's, based around relationship and work and so forth and so on. But fundamentally, these things are not reliable. We need something even more solid, something that we can count on 24/7. And there's really only, in my understanding, there's really only two things that can meet that need. Two things that we can really just base our whole life upon: God and a true servant of God, a true helper of God. And I think of Bruno Groening as one such helper, and Jesus Christ as another. Only a being that's has completely freed themselves from ego, from all evil. Because nothing else in life is completely reliable. In fact, everything and everything around us is actually completely unreliable. Not completely, but fundamentally unreliable. No person, place, or thing is completely dependable. No person, place, or thing is available 24/7 to help us. And that's what we need in life. That's not to say it's bad to have relationships and family. That's not what I'm saying at all. But in terms of what we base our life upon, what's our base? What's our home base? What's our foundation? It's written that Christ spoke of, you know, that faith and trust in God was the foundation that could withstand the storms and the waters. And that if we don't build on the right foundation, when challenges, metaphorically, when the rains pour and the storms come, but really what that means, that is challenges of life come. If we don't have a solid foundation, we don't have a foundation that's based in faith and trust in God, then those things will disturb us and um, will shake us. And so, in essence, Bruno Groening himself said, trust, and which also translates as confidence, trust and confidence in the good, again, meaning God, is the foundation, the fundamental idea, the fundamental principle of divine order, divine harmony. So if we put anything before God or before connection with, relationship, a true helper of God, we've built our foundation on something that will not withstand the waters. It might work for a while. So, the further I go on this path, it seems to me that a big part of this path is just learning how to put God first. As it's written that Christ said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. So that's what we're here to unlearn the habit of putting things in front of God, putting um, being more worried about how someone will react to what we say or do, being more worried about that than being more focused on, well, what's God's will in this situation and staying centered in what Bruno called that divine heavenly peace. This doesn't mean to put God first, doesn't mean we have to become monks and nuns. Or, in India, they have a tradition, they call it sadhu, where they own nothing. They have no possessions and they literally wander the world seeking God. That's an option. That's certainly an option, but that's not what I'm talking about. Though what I'm talking about can lead to that, but what I'm talking about is in our minds and in our hearts to be continually seeking God. Or, as Bruno Groening said, to be seeking to take in, to receive the divine transmission moment by moment. And it's a very simple idea, but not necessarily easy because we've been very trained to be independent and to depend on material things, both of which don't work. But Bruno Groening did point us to what does work: trusting in a helper and cultivating deeper and deeper faith in God.